Welcome to This Week in Lebanon Warriors Athletics here on LebanonWarriors.com and ESP Media powered by Sidearm Sports. My name is Jason Griefer. We are joined once again by Lebanon Athletic Director Keith Pantling and also a very special guest joining us here on the podcast today, and that is incoming Superintendent Mr. Isaac Sievers. Mr. Sievers will be joining us here in just a moment. We're going to kind of get his thoughts on how everything that happened regarding his move to Lebanon and his views on athletics, his involvement in it, and what impacts he hopes to make when he assumes the role of superintendent on August 1st. But Keith, let me start with you first. A lot of things going on, obviously, in the springtime. You know, as we get into the second week of May now, we start to look our eye towards the postseason, and we'll talk about some of that here in just a moment. But also a good chance for some kids here in the spring season to put pen to paper and decide and make it official where they're going to play at the next level. And we actually have that coming up on Tuesday, with a signing day. Tell us about it.
Yeah, we have 11 more student athletes that didn't sign in the early signing period in November. Then again, we had the football signing period. It seems like there's a signing period every 2 months now, but we had another in December for football. Your typical February signing day, we had a few more student athletes. And now those that waited a little bit longer to decide what their future held, we have 11 more student athletes that plan to continue to athletics at the next level while studying in college. So we have various sports. We have Bryce Lambert in golf. We have a few more in lacrosse, two more from cross country. One, Hope Carr's heading over to Liberty University in Virginia. And so, yeah, just a whole slew of athletes from various sports. I'm very proud of their accomplishments. And we're kind of sharing some information about them throughout the day on social media and stuff to highlight their accomplishments. But should be a fun day. I know they're excited. I've seen some of them already today, and it's always a good day. One of my favorite days of the year, just to kind of celebrate all their hard work and see their parents and how proud they are and their coaches. Just kind of an accumulation of a lot of things and a lot of hard work. But I always let them know it's not the finish line. It's the starting line, if you will. And there's a lot of hard work yet to happen if they want to be successful at the next level.
But still, congratulations to all those student athletes who are able to go ahead and do that and sign to where they're going to attend and play college athletics. So congratulations, and we'll be keeping track of that, as you said, on social media in the upcoming days as it goes forward. Let's talk about a couple of your teams here before we get to our chat with Mr. Sievers. Let's start with your baseball team. And we've talked the last few weeks about how this has been a jam-packed ECC from top to bottom. Nobody's been able to break away towards the top and try and claim the crown. And you look at the standings right now, your team currently sits one game behind Turpin in the loss column right now. It's still a handful of games left to be decided. So nothing's been determined right now as far as a league champion or really any positioning in the league. But I do want to talk about something, a big event that just happened over the weekend in your win over Loveland, a 10-0 win over Loveland on Friday. You know, obviously a 10-0 win over a league opponent, that's always a good day, but made so even better by the fact that your pitcher, Connor Smith, went out and tossed a perfect game. Not just a no-hitter, a perfect game. He winds up going 6 innings, obviously doesn't allow a base runner at all, and winds up striking out 11 of the 18 batters he faced. Pretty big deal to have a kid pitch a perfect game at this level. Take us through the day, how it all shook out, and what the coaches said about Connor's performance.
Well, I know the coaches are very proud of him. I was actually out at that game, and they were up like 7-0. So I kind of wandered away and checked out softball. And then we had a lacrosse game going on. And so I didn't see the end of it until my phone started blowing up with text messages that he just had that accomplishment. But it's funny, when I first started, Coach Price, that was one of the first names he brought up, especially after not playing last year, that the last time he played was as a sophomore, and that he was going to be a special component to their team this year. And sure enough, has had a tremendous year and has pitched in some pretty big games. And that was a big one for him to keep this thing alive in terms of competing for the league title. And for him to do that, I know the team's certainly proud of him, and great kid, great family, and just an all around awesome day. I think it's just under 100 in terms of the total in OHSAA history, perfect games. I think it's around 96 or 97. It was funny because their account had tweeted that out that day. Someone sent that to me, that this date in history, someone had thrown a perfect game, and sure enough, Connor did as well. So we had to share that information with them to get him in the record books, but something he'll remember and his teammates will remember for a long, long time.
Different story on Saturday with the high scoring affair and the loss to Miamisburg. But nevertheless, I have to imagine with a number of league games, as it stands right now, 5 league games scheduled within the next week, that's
Mhm.
got to give your team a pretty big shot in the arm as the regular season winds down, does it not?
Yeah, we're just trying to get some baseball games in now, Jason. We got
Yeah.
another one canceled today with Loveland, so we're kind of backfilling everything and probably have to play a couple on Saturday and get creative. So I've been on the phone most of the morning, but a lot of baseball, but meaningful games. We talked about it last week that they're still playing meaningful baseball games, and I mean that's exciting for the kids. So
Speaking of which, over on the softball side of things, they're playing meaningful games right now. Unfortunately, you dropped the first of the 2-game series to first place Milford on Monday by a score of 8-5, and so you're going to take them on again. It's basically setting up right now, assuming Mother Nature cooperates and allows the game to be played. It's essentially setting things up as a must-win in this situation if you want to stay in the ECC race. You also have a big one against West Claremont looming this later on this week, and we also saw the team's postseason draw announced. Your team's a 3 seed in the sectional. You're going to get Stebbins in round 1 next week. It seems like right now that the next 72 to 96 hours are really shaping up. It can really determine the course of the rest of the season. Is that what you're feeling right now? And is that what the players are feeling?
yeah, and talking to Coach, I think they know it's a huge week. Coach Kindle's also on the brink of his 400th career win. I think he's at about 397, which is pretty amazing, and I think just 15 or 16 seasons. So just a lot of I guess positive vibes around the program and trying to keep things rolling towards the postseason. But talk about meaningful games. That's what this week's filled with for sure. They got a couple set up for Saturday, and hopefully, if we don't get in, we're not going to play today versus Milford. That was moved to tomorrow, so you're looking at Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 2 on Saturday, all in conference. Potentially moving some of those back to next week after the playoffs begin. So we're just hanging on tight and figuring out this thing as we go. But they're playing a lot of meaningful softball right now.
And that's what you asked for as you approach the postseason. And even in this case, maybe into the postseason, still a lot to be determined as far as a league championship goes right there. With that, we're going to now bring in our special guest, and that is incoming superintendent Isaac Severs. Mr. Severs, first of all, we do appreciate some of your time here today. We welcome you into the Lebanon community. First of all, I'm just curious to get your thoughts on the whole process that took you ultimately from where you were in the Greenview local school district over here to Lebanon. I know you had some interest in moving to Lebanon back in 2016, but take us through the interview process for you and what ultimately made 2021 the right time for you and your family to move to Lebanon.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I'm happy to be a part of this today and look forward to working with you guys in the future. The process was pretty rigorous through K-12. They reached out to us. One of the things about K-12 is they also do some recruiting of applicants when they put those things out. And so, I was interested back in 2016, and for some family reasons, decided to pull my name out of contention then for the position, but always kept Lebanon in mind. We would drive through the community on a regular basis. Thought it just was a great place to raise a family and to look at in terms of a career move as well. And so over the last 5 years, I've continued to kind of monitor what's going on, and what was happening in the district. So when it came open and was able to reach out with K-12 and speak with them about it, I felt like it was a better place for myself at the time, and also where Lebanon was in terms of the district. My wife and I, we have 3 children ranging from 9 to 13. We toured the district several times. We would drive through even during the process. For us, it was about a fit. Is this a place we would want to raise our kids? Is this a place we'd want to make them, have them go to school? And so we felt like it was a great opportunity for our family, but also professionally, a type of district I would want to work for and lead. Great people, and the culture that's established, that it's already in place, is a great foundation to build upon. And those things were appealing in the process. I really enjoyed meeting with the board. Had a chance to interview with them first, and they called back for a second interview. And then that second meeting, met members of the community, met members of the staff in a community meet and greet, and was able to get a sense of what the culture is in the district, what questions they had, what are they looking for. and really just felt like the board would be, their vision for what they want for the district moving forward, and their vision for what a student experience should be like in Lebanon City Schools is commendable, but also appealing from the outside. I looked forward to being a part of it.
So looking at the where you're coming from, you've had a long run in the Greenview local school district. I believe 8 years you've been there now. As you make the move to Lebanon, I look back to kind of your past. I know you've had some history involved with athletics, coached some football in the past there before making the move onto the administrative side there. How are you normally involved with the athletics programs? Are you out at games? Are you talking to coaches? Are you talking to athletic directors there? What's your plan as far as your involvement with the athletics programs in Lebanon?
Athletics are a passion of mine, my family, my wife, and I, and our 3 kids. I love being involved. Going back to my first teaching job was in Lafayette, Indiana. Right out of college, I coached high school girls tennis for 2 years. I coached freshman baseball. I coached freshman basketball. Was a varsity football assistant. So got a well-rounded experience with multiple different, teams and schedules and things, and really fell in love with, just the idea of high school athletics and what they mean to a culture and a district. I am a sports junkie, and when it comes to that, so I love being at practices and games, and being involved in what's going on. And we'll stop in for a little bit at practices here in Greenview, and maybe shoot along the side, be involved, talk with coaches, just as a way of seeing what's going on behind the scenes and being a part of that, not just on game days. But if you're going to attend Lebanon, sporting events in the futures, I would expect to see me there, to be, involved in what's going on. I think athletics play an important role in the student experience, along with arts and music and productions. And I just look forward to being involved with that. And having coached, I see the benefit, and I see also the benefit of having the support of administration behind it as well. And I don't want to do Keith's job, right? He's got a job and I have a job. I don't want to do it. But I do want to be a support to him and to the coaches where, what do we need? What can we do as a structure, as a department that supports kids and makes this experience even better? And those are conversations we have to continue to have. So,
do you catch yourself when you're at these practices or at these games pulling a coach aside and saying, "Here, maybe you should try this. This is what I'm seeing." Do you still find that inner coach coming out?
I gave that up. One of the things, as a high school, I moved from math teacher and head football coach to high school principal. So I've been in Greenview for 12 years. I came here 12 years ago as the head football coach and math teacher. And there are moments, I have some memories of when the new football coach started. He and I have very different philosophies in terms of coaching. I was a spread offensive guy. And that was my experience as a quarterback at the college level, coaching and in coaching early on. And so we would sit, I remember this giant whiteboard in our teacher's lounge. I'm the principal. He comes in after school and he says, "Hey, listen, talk to me about your, flat curl concept and how did you teach it? We've got to get it in, we've got to get something in." And 45 minutes later, there are lines drawn, there are circles. So if they ask me, I'm all about it, but I'm not going to go in and draw it up. Having been away from it now for 10 years, there are things that the game has changed a little bit, or some of those things along the way. So I'm up for a conversation about it, but I'm not going to carry my clipboard with me when I go, or my whistle for that matter.
That's good to know. I'm sure we'll see how the coaches take to that as it goes along. Maybe they do come to you for some advice as things go along here. Keith, let me bring you back in. Obviously, you're still trying to get acclimated, and you're settling in now at Lebanon after making the move over from Little Miami. From your perspective, what kind of relationship do you normally try to have with your superintendent of your school district? Obviously, there's other people involved with it, principals, assistant principals, and what have you, as well as the board. What kind of relationship do you try to have as on a day-to-day basis?
Well, in particular, this time around, I would like some calls on 3rd and 10 that would really help us out here. No, um, I think Mr. Sievers mentioned a few of the things that are really exciting. I think the opportunity to maybe be at the table to share things that I think could benefit kids that I see in the weeds on a daily basis, or that coaches share with me. So I think that type of transparency to understand ways to improve, and how we can improve what we're doing to positively impact kids in their experience. So for my time starting here, I've tried to focus in on creating a positive experience across the board for our student athletes, and kind of bringing a new energy and new excitement and spirit, if you will, to Lebanon. And I think just supporting each other's philosophies and missions towards education-based athletics, and having that dialogue, as Mr. Sievers mentioned, having that dialogue as to how we improve and do what's right for kids in programming for all the extracurriculars. That's really cool. Just in getting to meet Mr. Sievers and hearing him and the few times we've interacted, he's all about collaboration and the people that are in place, having them do their jobs and identifying ways to help them be successful at what they're doing. I think that's just a tremendous approach, and I'm really looking forward to him coming on board and looking forward to the future of Lebanon in general. Great things are happening.
So, Mr. Sievers, as we talked about, you'll officially assume the superintendent position in Lebanon on August the 1st. When you hear Keith talk about those things, that collaborative effort, open door communication, letting everybody kind of do their jobs, and you come in and try and help out where you can, is that your philosophy? And is that what you plan on doing once you assume the position on August 1st?
Yeah, one of the things I made very clear in my second interview with the board and even with the community group was that, I want to be a good listener and learn in this transition. One of the things that is clear to me as I look at this, I think currently, and Keith and I have talked this a little bit, Lebanon athletics are sitting in first place in the all sports trophy race in the ECC. And I think that's a testament to the culture and the excellence that's there. That goes back to strength and conditioning. That goes to, developing the athletes. And I think that's a whole big picture approach, right? And for me to see what's the culture like, not only in the athletics, but in the buildings. I've toured the buildings, went on the last time students were off and just walked the buildings with the principals. And for me, it's about learning and listening. What makes this place special? And what do you not want to lose sight of in the transition? And how can we build on that, right? I mean, they hired me not to maintain the status quo. They hired us to move things forward, but understand there's a solid foundation already in place, whether it's athletics, whether it's the music programs, whether it's, academics, listening and learning, and then from there building the strategic plan to improve in those areas. I think it's about collaboration. I think it's about unity and really realizing then what's the purpose for these programs that we offer, right? I mean, Keith came to Lebanon for a purpose and a plan, right? What's the purpose for the athletic program, and how does it support the academics what's happening in the classroom? And as you build that culture, I think that it's from that foundation you can build and take things forward. Then what kind of facilities do we need to facilitate that plan? What kind of training, what kind of curriculum programming do we need for that? That all comes from learning and listening, and then collaboratively building the plan going forward.
As we said, you're closing out your duties right now up in Greenview before you make this move to Lebanon on August 1st. So obviously, as you talk, you've been able to get to tour the facilities, talk to people on a handful of occasions. At this point here, as we talk on May the 4th, have you been able to formulate some ideas and some things you want to come in and try and improve on, as you say, and not maintain status quo, or have you even broached that subject to this point?
Yeah, right now I'm just trying to learn, and we've got some positions we need to fill, and so my time in the district so far, it's been 3 days. There's not a whole lot of time so far. So I'm currently sitting in my office in Jamestown at Greenview, and so when I'm there in Lebanon right now, it's about filling a position and finding some folks to build out the leadership team. But what I heard throughout the process, throughout the search and the documents that were produced and the meetings I've had is, and we need to take a look at our facilities. We need to take a look at making sure we have a plan for how to address these things. And so I think that's a priority, not only for Keith's, for members of the board have brought that up, and in discussion with administration. So I think that's one of the things going into this is what needs to be addressed, and then what's our strategy for addressing that, right? To not take away from what's happening in classrooms, but to build upon that. So I think looking at it athletically for the first year would be to come up with a plan for that. I've been to facilities, the gymnasium is absolutely beautiful. It's a great facility. The wrestling room, the things that are inside and supporting kids in the buildings that are new, are special. I mean, they're fantastic. And so how do we mirror that with other things to make sure that we all have access to that same quality of, training, practice, game facilities across the district? That will be a priority for us in terms of athletics, I think, as we begin.
Well, we certainly look forward to all the ideas that you're going to bring to Lebanon when you officially assume the position on August the 1st here. It's been great getting an introduction for you to the fan base here at Lebanon High School. We certainly appreciate some of your time here today, and congratulations on becoming the new superintendent at Lebanon City Schools.
Thanks. I look forward to getting involved and getting my hands dirty in what's going on in Lebanon. We'll get to work later this summer, and I look forward to being out there.
We certainly enjoyed the time today, not only from Lebanon Athletic Director Keith Pantling, but incoming superintendent, Mr. Isaac Severs, joining us for this week in Lebanon Warriors Athletics here on LebanonWarriors.com and ESP Media, powered by Sidearm Sports.